The boy I once knew became a man I couldn't ignore. Some risks change everything, and I wasn't ready for the tide. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment. The first time I saw Mack Blade as a grown man, I barely recognized him. The boy I had known, the shy, awkward teenager hiding behind a baseball cap, was gone. In his place stood someone tall, lean, confident, with gray eyes that seemed to look straight into the parts of me I had spent years hiding from. I arrived at the resort as usual, seeking a week of solitude after months of Daniel being away on business. The isolated coastal property, far from prying eyes, was my refuge. The sea stretched endlessly before me, its waves a constant rhythm, a lullaby for restless thoughts. But that evening, as I stepped onto the wooden porch, I froze. Mack was leaning against the railing, the sun glinting off his damp hair. He looked at me, and something unspoken passed between us, a recognition, an electricity that neither time nor propriety could erase. "Amber," he said softly, his voice deeper than I remembered. "Mack," my voice caught. It had been years, yet the moment felt suspended outside time. He smiled, and I noticed the subtle way his eyes lingered on me, the same intensity I'd glimpsed in fleeting moments when he was still just a boy. I told myself it was nothing, just familiarity, just family. But that night, as I unpacked, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Every shadow in my room seemed to echo his presence. My imagination filled the empty spaces of the house, and my heart began to beat in ways I hadn't felt in years. The next morning, he appeared in the kitchen, leaning casually against the counter. "I didn't expect to see you here," he said. His gray eyes held amusement and something more, something raw, like a secret waiting to be discovered. "I like the ocean," I replied lightly, trying to keep my voice normal. "It helps me think." He nodded, but his gaze didn't waver. There was a question in his eyes, a challenge. I felt my breath hitch, though I didn't understand why. Over the next few days, we found ourselves together often, though not by plan. Walks along the cliffside, conversations about the sea, about life, about dreams we never spoke aloud. Each moment carried a quiet tension, a magnetic pull that neither of us acknowledged directly. One evening, the wind turned sharp and a storm rolled in fast. I was lighting candles when a knock sounded at the door. Mack stood there, soaked from the rain, his shirt clinging to his body, the wet fabric hinting at the strength beneath. "The tide's risen," he said simply. "I couldn't get back to camp." I stepped aside. "Come in. Hurry before you catch cold." Inside, the storm's roar surrounded us. The electricity in the air wasn't just the weather. It hummed between us, a silent acknowledgement of feelings neither of us had permission to name. He changed into one of Daniel's old shirts. It hung loose on him, sleeves rolled up, exposing forearms that looked like they had been working hard, shaping wood or ropes or whatever labor the resort required. The shirt smelled faintly of the sea and detergent, an intoxicating mix that made my pulse spike. "You ever feel trapped?" I asked suddenly, words tumbling out before I could stop them. "All the time," he said, quietly meeting my gaze. The storm lasted through the night, and so did we. Not in ways people would whisper about, not in ways the world could define, but close enough to feel the gravity of desire pressing against the boundaries of what was right. We shared stories, silences, and stolen touches, hands brushing, leaning close to laugh, the kind of intimacy that sets your nerves alight without ever fully crossing the line. Morning came, but the tension didn't fade. Mack helped with chores around the property, though he often found excuses to linger near me, to offer a hand with a canvas or a jar of paint, to brush past me in hallways and let the proximity speak, louder than words. Every glance, every small movement made my mind spiral. I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself he was my stepson and nothing more. But every laugh, every smile, Every unguarded moment pulled me closer to a truth I wasn't ready to confront. Then, one evening, as the sun bled red into the horizon, Mack stopped me at the edge of the cliff. The sea below churned, and the wind tangled our hair together. "I can't pretend anymore," he said, voice low and firm. "I can't pretend that I don't feel something." My chest tightened. I wanted to look away, to deny it, to remind myself of boundaries. But the weight of his gaze anchored me. "Mack, He stepped closer, his hand brushing mine. "Don't," he said, shaking his head. "Don't say anything. Just feel it. Let it exist." That was the night everything changed. Not with words, not with declarations, but with the quiet, undeniable acknowledgement that the rules we had lived by were not enough to contain what was happening. Days blurred into weeks. We found routines that made the tension almost bearable. Dinners alone on the porch, long walks along deserted beaches, silent mornings watching the waves. Each stolen moment, a charged reminder of the line we weren't supposed to cross. Then Daniel returned earlier than expected. Mack left the island without a word, slipping away like the tide itself, leaving me standing on the cliffside, watching the empty horizon, my heart aching with every wave. Months passed. Life resumed its rhythm, but the memory of Mack, his hands, his voice, the way his eyes had claimed parts of me I thought I had buried, never left. Then, one morning, a letter arrived. No return address, only his handwriting. Some risks never fade. I hope the ocean still remembers us. I kept it tucked in my journal, reading it at night when the house was silent, when the ocean whispered my secrets back to me. Some stories can't exist publicly, and some loves are too dangerous to name. But in the quiet, I let myself remember. I let myself feel. Falling for him had been the biggest risk of my life. And even now, I knew that I would take that risk again in a heartbeat, because some bonds are not defined by rules. They're defined by truth, by recognition, by the force of a connection that can't be ignored. The ocean still remembers us, I realized, and so do I.